Let's go. All right. So as they've done throughout these playoffs, Oklahoma City's depth proved to be too much. The Thunder rode a 2-0 run to open up an 11-point third-quarter advantage en route to a runaway 114-88 win. Wow. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander struggled early but finished with 31 points and 9 assists. Okay, S.A., here's what I want to know from you. Was this OKC blowout of Minnesota something or nothing?
I think it was something, Molly. I really, really do. I walked into this series thinking that, it's 7 games, and I departed, praying that it goes at least 5. I mean, to be outscored 70-40 in the second half is very, very alarming. It's just one game. But when you see the fact that OKC played 10 dudes in significant minutes that all had an impact, when you see how their piranha-style defense was just took over when it really, really mattered, when you saw the ease with which Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the eminent league MVP, finished with his 31 points, but had 11 free throws, when you consider how he struggled from the field and how Jalen Williams struggled from the field, and still they ran away with this in the second half, and Minnesota's bench, when it really, really counted, only made about 7 of 36 shots. You're just saying to yourself, good Lord have mercy. How are you going to beat this team? You're looking at Ant-Man and what he can do, but he couldn't do much last night. Naz Reid shooting 0 for 7 from three-point range, like 0 for 11 or 1 for 11 for the game. I'm just looking at the personnel or the absence thereof compared to OKC's depth and their defensive tenacity. And I'm asking myself, how is Minnesota going to make a series out of this? I'm not there yet definitively, but it was very alarming for me to see such a lopsided contest in that second half.
Well, when you go 15 of 51 from 3, that's a major problem. And they couldn't make a 3-point shot if their life depended on it. Obviously, DiVincenzo and Reed did not shoot the ball well. I'm with Steve 100%, though. This would be a little alarming for me, too. Now, I thought Oklahoma City 6. If you were nice enough to have me on Monday, I would have given you that prediction, or Tuesday. But I thought 6, so I'll stick to that. But I thought OKC was primed to be picked off last night. A tough turnaround from that Denver Game 7. Played 2 days later. Minnesota should have had a bigger lead at the half than they did. It's only 48-44. They were up by 7 or 8 points in the first half, and OKC had not played well. SGA had not played well. And Minnesota kind of let them hang around and got too close at the half. And as Steve said, whatever it was, 70-40, Steve, in the second half, they got blown out. So I'm with Steve 100%. Yes. I think this is something here. Now, remember, OKC lost that first game to Denver and bounced back. But here's what I would say quickly before Perk chimes in. OKC, to me, I think they've blown a lot in the last couple series. Forget Memphis, but they were in big trouble against Denver 3 or 4 times for a young team. Lost game 1, lost game 3 in overtime, down 9 in game 4 in the fourth quarter. Could have easily lost game 5 and had to play a 7th game, and down 21-10 in that first quarter in game 7. And they got out of all those games. Maybe that is the step that we'll look at the end of this next couple weeks and think, there is their chance. They made that step to that next championship level. But overall, I'm with Steve. I'd be very concerned about the T-Wolves right now.
Big Perk?
What did I tell you yesterday on Countdown?
You said a lot.
I said a lot, but the one thing I told you to start off the show.
They needed this game.
I said it was a must-win game for the Minnesota Timberwolves because you got OKC coming off a tough 7-game series against the Denver Nuggets, emotionally and physically, and you've been resting for 5 days preparing for this moment. And I also told you, S.A., on Countdown, that Anthony Edwards, we don't need Anthony Edwards to be Anthony Edwards. You need him to be Ant-Man in this series. And I get it. It's hard to get to the paint. It's hard to get your shots off when you're dealing with a team that have a bunch of dogs and everybody on that team could play defense at a high level, especially in isolation. But you know the one thing that Anthony Edwards don't do at a high level is get to the free throw line. People can complain all they want about SGA and Big Body Brunson getting to the free throw line, but I remember at one point in time, we used to applaud Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Paul Pierce, Tim Duncan for getting to the free throw line, right? Putting pressure not only on the opponent, but the officials. So I'm looking at Anthony Edwards in this series. He has to be special. Like the 27 points he's been averaging, that's not going to cut the mustard. He got to average 35 to 40 for them to even stand a chance against the Oklahoma City Thunder. To be honest, look, the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to get a game, but this is not going past 6 games.
I got to tell you this. You know what I found myself thinking about last night, Doggy, Big Perk, Molly?
Yeah.
I had to do an event months ago. I was hosting an event with Irvin Magic Johnson. And it was around that time, if you remember, when Ant-Man had said that, you know, other than Michael Jordan, he didn't really think. I think it was other than Michael Jordan or Kobe. He was like, he really didn't think that there was any players from the past talented that, you know, could compare to today's player or whatever. And it was a blasphemous statement, of course. And I remember I asked Magic Johnson, and Magic Johnson, knowing the obvious greatness of Ant-Man's talent, looked at the audience and said, I don't really pay attention to anybody who hasn't won anything. They simply don't know. And I'm saying to myself, last year, Western Conference Finals, Ant-Man. This year, Western Conference Finals, Ant-Man. You have an opportunity to let the world know that you have a clue about what it takes to win. And part of it is getting to the free throw line, Big Perk. And the fact of the matter is that showing last night by the Minnesota Timberwolves in the second half, by him in the second half, says a lot if you don't find a way to resurrect yourself in this series. Molly, this series could end up being a romp. I mean, based on what you saw in the second half, we're not all there yet. We're looking at Minnesota getting a game or 2 games. My theory of 7-game series has gone out the window. The level of dominance in that second half defensively, if they were just making shots, that would be one thing. They weren't making shots, Molly, and they still didn't care. They forced about 3 or 4 turnovers in the last 3 minutes of the first half, which really set the stage for the blowout in the second half. This is what they're doing. They came at them defensively and got all up in them, and Minnesota had no answer whatsoever. This could be bad.
Hold that thought. Chris, I want to let you respond, and then I want to hit a couple other angles on
Well,
this.
I think both these guys, I think Perk a little rough. You got to give Minnesota a game. I mean, geez. I mean, maybe I'll give them more.
He gave him a game. He gave him a game.
You got to give him a game.
I know you miss me, Mad Dog.
I do miss you. I do. All right, well, what game are you going to give them? Game 3 or game 4? Game 3 or game 4? If they get game 3, they're sort of in the mix. But you guys are right. I'm not going to argue with you too much. I mean, I like to sit there and think we can look at a 7-game series. OKC lost 6 games at home all year. And I'm going to go back to what I said a little while ago. And I know you guys, for whatever the reason, you ignored it, which was ridiculous because it's a great point. The idea is that OKC really sort of navigated and showed maturity getting through that Denver series. A seasoned team that won a championship, best player in the world, down 1-0, down 2-1, in trouble in Game 5, had to win in Game 7. I think that could be looked at as a big breakthrough for them, and that's why I'm a little worried about Minnesota here sticking around and making this very entertaining. We shall see.
All right, Stephen A., let me ask you this. I want to start with SGA and then get into Ant. Does SGA get too many calls?
Molly, I'm going to say no. And here's why I'm going to say no. Because the calls he gets, he earns. Playing the game of basketball, the brother knows how to create contact. You know, he's a legit 6'7", 6'8", with marvelous ball handling skills, gets into the lane at his discretion. He knows how to utilize his body. He throws out pump fakes, spin moves. He can handle the rock and dance on you. He can do whatever. And so when you have that kind of skill set and then you have the ability to finish with a mid-range that pulls up. I mean, this guy hits about 48% of his mid-range shots in the postseason. You know what Ant-Man is in the postseason for mid-range? 7%, 1 of 14 mid-range. So you're either hitting threes or you finishing at the basket. That's Ant-Man's game. SGA, there is no limit to his games. He's not the strongest three-point shooter in the world. Ant-Man was at 38% throughout these playoffs. He was like at 29%. But yet he still goes out there and gives you 30+. Why? Because he knows how to get to the free throw line. He knows how to get in the lane and finish at the basket. He has the ball handling skills to create his own shot and his own space. And all of those things that he brings to the table is what forces you to foul him in an effort to try to neutralize him. I can't turn around and then say, oh, he's he's getting too many calls when he's the one that's creating it.
Big Perk?
It's cool when they do. It's cool when they do it. It's a problem when he do it, right?
Who's they?
I'm talking about his peers.
Got it.
So it's okay when Jokic sell calls and get to the free throw line because he sell calls as well, right? It's cool. It's cool when Luka does it. It's cool when big body Brunson sell calls. Like, that's part of the game. Getting to the free throw line, creating contact. That's part of being crafty, smart, right? Using it. So I just don't understand, like, where all the hate comes from all of a sudden when it comes down to SGA. Donovan Mitchell, he's another one. Does an excellent job of getting to the free throw line. It's not a problem. We should applaud it. When your game is not working, when your shot is not falling, find a way to put pressure on the opponent and the officials. Make them blow the whistle. Paul Pierce was the best at it. I played with him. If his shot wasn't falling, he was going to find a way to get to the free throw line.
And won the last 2 games by 40 points. It wasn't because he shot some free throws, for crying out loud. They scored a bunch of points. I don't make a big deal about that. And you guys both know there'd be a game in Minnesota where Anthony Edwards would be at the line 9 million times to make up for it. I don't think the foul thing is that big a deal. I like what both of them said, and they were in the building, so they would know better than I would. They can sense it. That was a very damaging loss for Minnesota. They had a chance in that first half to set a tone. Randall had 20 points. They didn't do anything to get the ball much in the second half. They had a chance to do that and let that opportunity escape them. I think that could come back
Before
to
we get to the Knicks, Stephen A., because we got to move on and get to your Knicks tonight. One quick thing. How concerned are you with Ant Edwards' injury?
I'm not that concerned with his injury.
Okay.
I'm concerned with him being neutralized because he's going up against a clearly superior team. Right now, 3 stats to throw at these guys before we end the segment. OKC outscored Minnesota 31-10 on points off turnovers. They outscored them 54-20 by points in the paint. And oh, by the way, they outscored them 12-0 on fast break points. And last but not least, they played Rudy Gobert off the court. The way that they were playing, Finch could not keep Rudy Gobert. Now, that was stupid of him to get 2 fouls in the first 1 minute and 38 seconds of the game. That was just dumb, knowing how valuable he is with Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein. You can't get into foul trouble, and he got into foul trouble 1 minute and 38 seconds into the game. That's where he picked up his second foul, but ultimately he was played off the court. Finch had to pull him because they couldn't keep up with Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City played this brother out of the game. This was a very, very dominating performance from the last 3 minutes of the first half to the end of the game. A romp, a beatdown. And I'm very concerned about whether or not this is going to end up being a series.
When Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers face Jalen Brunson in the Knicks Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, at 8 Eastern. A year ago, the Pacers knocked New York out in 7 games. That was in the Eastern semis. The Knicks looking to get even. So during the regular season, the Knicks won 2 of their 3 games against the Pacers. Both came by double digits, including a 25-point win at MSG. That was back in October. So, Mad Dog, I want to start with you on this one. Which team can least afford a Game 1 loss?
Well, the Pacers beat the Knicks 3 straight times last year at home in that Eastern Conference semifinal. The Pacers are a very good home team. They did lose a game at Cleveland up 2-0, but they finished off Milwaukee. They won that huge Game 4 against the Cavs with that 80-38 first half. I think, they're going to have to win a game on the road. So eventually. But I think the fact that the Knicks rested properly, a lot of momentum, you don't want to be forced right out of the gate to be playing from behind. I think the home team in Game 1, it's much more significant than the road team. So I think the Knicks can least afford to lose the first game tonight.
Big Perk?
The Knicks winning this series in 5. And listen, let me say this. It's no disrespect whatsoever to the Pacers. I think Rick Carlisle is a hell of a coach. Tyrese Halliburton has been balling. Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner is one of the most underrated players in the league that we don't talk about enough. But the Knicks did take the Pacers to 7 games last year. Jalen Brunson was injured. Josh Hart, abdominal strain. OG Anunoby, hamstring. And then now, all of those guys are healthy. You add Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges, and guess what? You got home court advantage. Home court advantage matters in this postseason. Madison Square Garden is going to be rocking. The Knicks have made that a tough place to play in, especially after that Game 6 performance that they put on. Look, kudos, shout out to the Indiana Pacers. They did an outstanding job. Obviously, they knocked off the Cleveland Cavaliers, but the difference between the Cavs and the Knicks, the Cavs are soft. The Knicks are some dogs. And when you talk about big body Brunson, you talk about OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, those guys out there, those Rough Riders, and the way Tibbs is coaching, the Knicks are winning this series in 5. So I know that probably didn't answer the question that was put on that's across the topic board, but I had to get that off my chest.
That's a long-ass answer just to say you didn't answer the question. Let's get that out the way right now. I mean, you didn't have to add that last part where you said, I know I didn't answer the question. At least you could have answered the question. You don't take that long.
You said I'm allowed to give a
Go ahead,
long
but
answer.
you should have answered the question, though. How you going to say you didn't answer the question after that long-ass answer?
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say. The bottom line is this, y'all. Bottom line is this. You're being very disrespectful to the Indiana Pacers. Very disrespectful. I mean, Rick Carlisle is a champion. As much as we love Tibbs, Tibbs hasn't even coached in the finals as a head coach, okay? Rick Carlisle's a champion. So that's very disrespectful. That's number one. Number two, Miles Turner, Tyrese Halliburton, Nesmith, Nembhard, and these brothers, they can ball now. Mathurin, all right, Siakam, I even bring him up. They can ball now. Now, I know that Karl Anthony's averaging over 30 on 57% shooting against these brothers in the 3 games that they played. I know that the New York Knicks have scored over 120 points in each of those games. But what we're leaving out is that they had to. Indiana can score on anybody. I got the Knicks winning this series too. But I am not going to disrespect the Indiana Pacers by saying, oh, Knicks in 5, okay? I know my man OG Juan and the rest of the crew out there all tripping talk about Knicks in 5, Knicks in 5. I'm not getting beside myself like that. I got the Knicks winning this series, but I think this series right here has 7 games written all over it. It might be in 6. New York Knicks, I can see the New York Knicks going to Indiana and winning a game 6, but I certainly am going to give the Indiana Pacers more than 1 game in this series. I would not disrespect them like that. I cannot.
Well, you didn't answer the question either, Hotshot. The question was, who, I mean, my God. You get
Look alive. Look alive. Okay.
Pay attention. I know it's 6:30 in the morning and you've had your egg sandwich. But be on top of it.
Where's your tea with milk and honey?
Ford can lose game 1. Pacers or Knicks? Give me an answer.
Thank you, Mad Dog.
The Knicks. The Knicks.
Okay. All right. We agree.
Hey,
and I'm with them too.
Big Body Perk.
Knicks in 7.
What's your answer?
Perk. Hello?
Which
Hello?
team can at least afford a game?
You're going to read the damn question. You're going to read the damn question. He did that on purpose, Molly. He did that on purpose, man. Come on, man.
I mean, I would say the Pacers. I would say the Pacers.
Because?
Oh?
The games on the first 2 games at Madison Square Garden. I think that they can afford to lose game 1. They just want to go back to Indiana 1-1. You understand? I think they can afford to lose it. But I will give you this.
You know what? I think
have the edge because you did say that last night.
I think we need to go to commercial break. Everyone needs to just regroup, get a little caffeine,
We good.
and we'll revisit in about 4 minutes.
We good.
No, Perk, you need caffeine.
What's wrong, Molly?
You need it. You need it.
Wow.
Coming up.